My sibling discovered my kinky messages with my spouse, and now my relatives believe I'm suffering from mistreatment. I'm a 30-year-old woman, and my husband is 33 years old. We tied the knot 5 years back, and we've been a couple for 8 years in total. Our bond is fantastic, we're deeply in love, and he shared a wonderful connection with my relatives. Both of us enjoy engaging in pretend scenarios via text to add excitement to our intimate life. One of our pretend games involves him acting as the dominant figure who instructs me on actions to take. I must emphasize that this remains strictly in text form, and when we step into the bedroom, we behave entirely ordinary. In any case, a couple of weeks prior, during one such session, I was hanging out with my younger sibling, and I handed her my device to capture a few snapshots. She prefers using my device for photography every time we're out together, and a message from him arrived in our pretend scenario style. It was along the lines of remember to strip fully, you naughty blank, I'd better arrive and discover you prepared. Not the ideal timing for such a note to pop up when another person held my device, I confess. Rather than questioning me on it, she accessed the messaging application and viewed all my prior pretend scenario exchanges with my spouse. Then snapped pictures of the majority and forwarded them to my parents prior to returning my device. The following day, my mother phoned me and urged me to visit immediately. I arrived and saw my mother, father, sibling, brother, and uncle all gathered closely in the sitting area. My mother was weeping and expressing regret for not noticing it earlier, and my father was utterly enraged. I had no clue what was happening, but once they explained, I was outraged at them, particularly my sibling. I informed them that none of their claims were accurate, and that my spouse is an excellent person, and this was just a playful imagination we occasionally indulge in. The issue is they assume I'm fabricating it. My sibling works as a social worker, and she's absolutely certain that I'm deceiving them, similar to how all the females she encounters in her profession deceive to shield their violent partners. Regardless of what I explain to them, they refuse to accept it. I even brought my mother to my bedroom and removed my clothes before her to demonstrate that I'm not experiencing any form of mistreatment, but it's as if I'm speaking to an unresponsive barrier. My sibling is leveraging her profession to persuade everyone that I'm enduring mistreatment. I even provided my mother with my device so she could view the messages and personal dialogues between me and my spouse. And I embarrassed myself by having her peruse those private exchanges regarding our fetishes and pretend games. She appeared repulsed and remained silent. Then she consulted my sibling and returned to me stating that my sibling has observed conduct like this among victims of mistreatment, and that I was so indoctrinated I failed to recognize how participating in these kinds of pursuits counted as mistreatment, and that my spouse had conditioned me so I wouldn't identify it as mistreatment. When I mentioned that the pretend games were initially my idea, she shouted, "Kindly cease defending him. We didn't bring you up to act that way." To worsen the situation, my brother visited my spouse's office and caused a commotion before all the staff, and now individuals are gossiping about him, mistreating me due to my brother's statements. Yesterday evening, my mother contacted me and inquired if I had challenged my spouse. I responded that there's no issue to address since no incident occurred and I'm not facing mistreatment. She replied that this is exactly what my sibling predicted I would claim because that's how victims of mistreatment behave, and if I didn't take a position, then they would approach the officials and file a report against my spouse. I'm horrified.